Hello, welcome to Driver Seat and to the latest Audi A5. Now this is the second generation A5 and replaces the model that was first introduced to us in 2007, and that was a two-door coupe based on the Audi A4. This model retains a similar look, so it's instantly recognisable as an A5 but is sharper, more modern and to my eyes better looking. It's also available in the same body style, so this two-door coupe, but there's also a two-door cabriolet and the five-door Sportback. You can then choose from three specifications: SC, Sports and S-Line. And then from engines, there's diesels and petrols. So there's two 2-litre TFSI petrol engines, two 2-litre diesel engines, and this 3-litre V6 diesel. Now in S-Line trim you get this sportier and more aggressive front end, 18-inch alloys, although this car is fitted with optional 19 inches. These side skirts. At the back you get the S-Line Sports bumper with the greyed out diffuser. There's LED head and tail lights which feature the directional indicators, which are pretty cool. Let's take a look inside. So the interior of the S-Line trim cars get a half leather, half Alcantara finish. So you get these half leather sport seats, and this Alcantara finish on the doors. There's a flat bottomed steering wheel, which is suitably sporty, but for me a little bit wide. The seats adjust well for height and tilt. The base tilts as well, and they're electrically adjustable with an electric lumbar support. The steering wheel has good tilt and reach adjustment. Although I've struggled to find my perfect driving position, because when I've got my right foot fully depressed on the brake pedal, my left leg doesn't reach all the way down to the footrest. So I've always felt that the pedals are slightly too near me for my ideal position. All A5s as standard come with 3-zone climate control, which is all controlled from this area here. The rest of the buttons are easy to reach, clear to read, and feel quite nice. This is the MMI pad, which has a scratch pad on the top and 8 shortcut buttons and then 8 programmable buttons as well to control the 7-inch MMI colour touchscreen. This model is actually fitted with the virtual cockpit. Now it's a £250 optional extra, but it's a 12.3-inch screen that sits where your traditional dials would be. And it can display the dials in a digital format, or you can change it with this view button on the steering wheel to show sat-nav or to show your stereo controls. It's really very good. There's also these scroll buttons that will allow you to change those settings further. Storage is a bit of a mixed bag. There's a small tight door bin, there's this very large and long compartment there, a couple of cup holders up front, and then this adjustable armrest which can sit at different levels, and underneath it you've got the charging point for the phone and 2 USB sockets. However, when you leave the car, if you leave the armrest up, then thieves will see what you've been storing there because it doesn't close up. Although the car will tell you if you've left your phone in the car, which is a nice trick. Now, getting into the back is a two-stage affair. First, you lift and tilt the seat forward. If there's not enough room, you can then press and hold this electric button to slide it forward for you. That then means you can have a little bit more space to climb in the back. Pull the seat back and then use the electric button to reset. Now the first thing you'll notice is your feet's being squeezed, or let's call it hugged slightly, by the bottom of the chair. The lack of leg and knee room you've got, I'm not touching the chair, but I'm touching the netting behind it, and it's a little bit claustrophobic. I wouldn't want to be here for too long. And that goes for headroom as well. That's really limited, so I can't get totally comfortable. The adjustable headrest helps, and the seats are quite comfy. So for smaller passengers, it's going to be fine. There's a little cup holder down here, a small storage bin in the door, and this central armrest folds down with 2 cup holders. Let's try and get out. So while rear passenger space may not be that impressive, the boot certainly is. It's got 465 litres of capacity. Now compare that to a 4 Series, which is 445, and a C-Class at 400. It's pretty decent indeed. There's lots of room in here for my box. And I'll take a couple of large suitcases. The storage compartments on either side, although the right one is much larger and the left one is a bit of a waste of time. Under the floor there's a space-saving tyre, but not much more storage than that. You can also release the back seats from here, although they don't automatically drop down, so you have to release them, then bend in the car and pull them down. But it's not bad. I think it's about time we got this thing on the road and see what it's like to drive. So the range-topping 3-litre V6 diesel under the bonnet generates 215 brake horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Now that's enough to get this thing from standstill to 62 miles an hour in 6.2 seconds. What's most impressive is max torque is available from just 1250 revs per minute. Max power's at 4000. That means this thing really gets a shift on and early. The power delivery is so consistent though, and it's creamy. It just pulls and pulls. But because the Audi's so well made, you don't feel it's going that fast. It's really deceptive. Suddenly you look down and you won't quite believe the speed you're doing, yet all your sensors are telling you that you're just pootling along. Officially, this will return 60.1 miles to the gallon and emits 123 grams per kilometre of CO2, which is pretty low for a 3-litre V6 in this sort of car. However, on the MPG side, I'm struggling to get anywhere near 40, and that's been a variety of driving, of taking it easy and really going much harder. The gearbox is a 7-speed S Tronic, which essentially is a manual sequential gearbox with an automatic mode. Off the line, it's a little bit hesitant and resistant to get going. Whether you're in automatic mode or dynamic mode, if you sink the pedal and want to get a move on, it's really rather hesitant. You can feel those downshifts, it's quite significant really. There's that moment of revs rise, engine wants to move, gearbox needs to change, eventually it happens. The engine's got a nice roar to it, however, when you floor it, but when you're on the motorway or just driving around town, it's quiet, and in all honesty, you'd struggle to know it's a diesel. S-Line models get sport suspension, and with this car riding on 19-inch alloys, there is a slight firmness, but nothing near being uncomfortable. You'll feel the smaller undulations more often, but it's only the biggest bumps and bangs that really manage to penetrate the shield of pure class refinement. Speed sensitive steering works well, so it's nice and light when you're manoeuvring around, and just a finger or light palm will be able to swing the car around. As you speed up, it does become a little bit heavier, which is good, and it feels more assured on the road. Use the drive select modes and go from comfort, automatic into dynamic, and it firms up even further. It's quite direct and it's really rapid to respond, so any change of directions are done quickly and decisively. The car then goes precisely where you place it, and the amount of grip is simply phenomenal. Try and be a little bit naughty with it and it just won't step out of line. There's two phases to the handling. The first one is sort of everyday and probably going sort of 5/10, 6/10. It handles well, it stays flat. However, if you really try and push this, if you throw it round a roundabout or through a series of corners, you'll feel the body really start to lose a little bit of composure. Now it's well damped, so it doesn't bounce and wallow and lean too much, but it's not dynamic and it's not sharp, so you would never call this a proper sporting coupe. However, it'll still take those lines that you're asking it to, and with that amount of grip, it's rather reassuring. It's just not rewarding. In this spec, the A5 costs £41,375. There are two clear rivals for the A5, and that's the Germans in the form of the BMW 4 Series and Mercedes C-Class Coupe. So it's the old rivalry renewed. So the A5 Coupe is a really nice car. It looks fantastic, it's well made, it feels luxurious inside, and actually even in the standard mode it's full of kit. This engine's creamy with strong performance and really impressive. It's not the last word as a sporting coupe, but it's something that you could quite happily live with that big boot and that comfy ride. Thanks for watching Driver's Seat. Let us know what you think about the all-new A5 Coupe, and remember to subscribe to the channel for free.